My boyfriend shamed me and now I feel shame while having intimacy with him. My boyfriend, 30, and I, 25, have been together for 2 years and currently live with me and my other 3 roommates. Usually, he gets very excited before bed and tries to initiate intimacy with me, but last night I wasn't particularly in the mood. In the past, he has been very adamant whenever he wants intimacy and oftentimes overlooks the fact that I don't. We have gotten into full-blown arguments because I didn't want to have intimacy, but there are times I just give in to him out of annoyance. Yesterday, despite my lack of interest in having intimacy and the fact that there was no pregame done on me, I have him gawk. I was starting to feel excited once we were actually having intimacy. I forgot to mention that usually there is no music or TV sound playing in the back, and because we live with 3 other people, walls are thin, we both try to keep it down, but I often can't contain the noise. I personally find this setup very awkward, and the fact that he usually doesn't warm me up doesn't help. Anyway, yesterday as we were having intimacy, he decided to chastise me for making noise in the middle of intimacy and grabbed a pillow so I could cover my face. This is where it all went downhill. After he chastised me, an overwhelming sensation of sadness took over me and I couldn't help crying uncontrollably. Because my face wasn't visible, he didn't notice and just continued until he was finished, which thankfully wasn't long. I immediately got up and ran to the bathroom feeling horrible. I jumped in the shower to calm down the extreme anxiety. When I noticed he had come in as well, we usually shower together after intimacy, and was touching himself behind me as I was showering. In disgust, I quickly rinsed off and ran out the bathroom. Perplexed, he then started to figure something was wrong. It wasn't until he noticed my eyes were red that he realized I had been crying. He then told me to imagine how awkward it feels for the other roommates to hear the noise, to which I replied, yeah, that's why most people usually put music or the TV sound as background. He then told me that the sound doesn't allow him to concentrate, which made me feel worse because I know he often needs to close his eyes in order to end. I then proceeded to tell him that I feel a lack of intimacy in our intimacy life. Usually, he chastised me if I try to look at him or have my eyes open during intimacy, and that it feels awkward for me to be silently still as he is having intimacy with me. I didn't say this, but it almost feels like I'm having intimacy with a stranger. For whatever reason, he proceeded to get angry and chastise me for saying such things to him and repeatedly told me to be quiet and shut up and that I do this all the time, referring to getting moody after intimacy. It has happened in the past that I get very moody after intimacy and even cry, but this time I truly felt sad and anxious, even during the intimacy. Some backstory to further clarify: my boyfriend is a very assertive person whereas I am more shy and reserved. Before we started dating seriously, I was single, obviously, and was living as a 23-year-old single woman in college, so I attended parties and events, took part in party culture, and dressed with low cut and crop tops, like most women my age. Once I met him, he made it very clear that I had to give up that lifestyle, along with the people surrounding it, in order for this to work. I accepted. However, because of his natural assertiveness, I would even say arrogance at times, I felt like he made it a point to shame me for taking part in that culture, and I have been carrying shame surrounding the topic of intimacy since then. Yesterday, when he chastised me for making noise, I felt that shame resurfaced to a whole other level. What angers me the most is that he is a highly intimate being, watches videos even after I told him no. He is constantly lurking on women online after I said no, and in the past he has shown a lack of self-restraint with women. No physical cheating that I know of, but doesn't seem that way towards me. I am starting to feel like I am being used as an intimacy tool to release tension and not as a desired girlfriend who he wants to please and be pleased by.